What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome to episode 5 of my Marvel Rewatch. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Captain America, the First Avenger. Oh boy, so it's been a while since I've seen this one all the way through. I remember seeing Captain America going to the midnight screening back in 2011. People had their shields, and that's back when people actually did midnight screenings, you know, instead of this 6 p.m. on Thursdays, which, you know, I actually prefer the earlier screenings on Thursday because I can actually see the movie and actually get some sleep. But there was something special about going to see a movie, like, at midnight. Like, the last midnight screening I did for a movie was The Force Awakens, but that's only because my friend's like, they're sold out, let's just go to the midnight. I've always wanted to see a Star Wars movie at midnight, but, you know, ever since then, I've just go to, like, the Thursdays, like, you know, 6 or 7 p.m. screenings or whatever they have. But whatever, that's not the point. So, Captain America, the First Avenger. In terms of my rankings so far, this one actually holds up pretty well. It's not the greatest MCU movie of all time, but it's certainly a solid entry in this pantheon. I love the old school, like, blockbuster feel this movie has. That this one was directed by Joe Johnston, who directed movies like The Rocketeer and Jurassic Park 3 and Jumanji, the first one I remember. So I like some of Joe Johnston's movies. This is a fun one. I like the period piece blockbuster. It's definitely, like, Chris Evans as Steve Rogers is such a likable character. He's the most aspirational hero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that's one thing I really appreciate about this movie, is you have somebody who's the true embodiment of a good person, somebody who's truly heroic. And he just goes out because he does the right thing. He doesn't want to do, like, bad in any way. He doesn't want to kill anyone, but he just wants to fight. And he truly is a remarkable human being. That's what I love about Captain America. He's the most inspiring hero on the Avengers, like, altogether. He's not a dick in any way. He's just truly, like, you know, pure of heart. He's truly probably the most worthy Avenger, I'd say, out of all of them. Even though we don't see him lift Thor's hammer, I feel like that's because he's not really trying. I feel like he would be able to. I feel like he should be wielding, like, Thor's hammer, because he is truly, like, a worthy person to possess the power of Thor. Maybe that'll happen in Avengers. That'd be pretty cool if he actually, like, wielded Thor's hammer in Avengers Endgame. But yeah, Captain America, great protagonist. The Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving, is a fun villain. The movie, honestly, in terms of my rewatch, I think I may like this one the most, even more than the first Iron Man, because the first Iron Man, it's that third act that kind of just loses it a bit for me. But the first two acts are so good in Iron Man that the third act just kind of becomes lackluster to me. But Captain America is able to keep, like, a consistent fun tone, like, throughout the whole movie. And like I said, I just like the period piece blockbuster. Although, like, the supporting cast is kind of forgettable. Outside of maybe Peggy Carter, Tommy Lee Jones is cool and all too. I actually forgot he was in this movie until I rewatched it. I think it's sweet, his romance with Peggy. But yeah, where am I at? Okay, so the plot of this movie is obviously they're setting up things for the Avengers, and, you know, Red Skull at the end of the movie gets catapulted somewhere, which we come to find out in Infinity War. He was at the planet Vormir with the Soul Stone. But basically, you know, it's World War II. Johann Schmidt / the Red Skull is out there busy, you know, taking over, like, trying to use the Tesseract to create weapons and take over the world, like, you know, Hail Hydra and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, U.S., like, we have a scientist who's crafting the super soldier serum, and then you see Steve Rogers. I almost completely forgot that, you know, they had little Chris Evans in the first movie, like, really scrawny and so on and so forth. But then, you know, I've become so used to him, you know, being jacked as shit, and, you know, kicking ass, like, in full-blown Captain America here, that, you know, you kind of forget some of these things. And the effects, for the most part, still hold up pretty well in terms of, like, the, where they try to make them look small. I thought that was kind of cool. But, so yeah, it gets, you know, the serum. There's some fun stuff, like some really old school, like, patriotic stuff. I like how Captain America is just like, I'm gonna sock old Adolf on the jaw. I'm like, that's kind of funny to me. It's really cheesy and hokey. And that's kind of what I describe this movie. It's super cheesy and hokey, but they made a badass Captain America movie. And, you know, that's not necessarily an easy task. I know people like to think The Winter Soldier is the best, or Civil War, and those are great too. I'm really torn if I like the first Cap or the second Cap more. I think I like them more than Civil War, because Civil War for me, well, I'll get to it when I rewatch Civil War, but Civil War, I have some issues with the movie, but still like the movie overall. But yeah, this is the first like Phase 1 solo film like since Iron Man that I think is still holds up remarkably well because it deliberately dates itself in a retro setting to so I think like it holds up to those standards. Like, okay, you understand why there's not so many big, grand, elaborate things like you would see, like all the bells and whistles you'd seen today. It's deliberately set back in that time period. And I really appreciated it. And it's kind of sad, too, to see Captain America. I mean, obviously, he wakes up in modern times. I've grown used to it. But just seeing this dude, like, wake up 70 years later in, like, a time that's not really his, kind of lost. It is kind of sad at the end of the movie, but you're very excited because he's going to join the Avengers. And the post-credit scene in this movie is a trailer for the first Avengers movie. And it's, like, coming next summer. Some assembly required. And I remember seeing that at midnight, everyone was going nuts, we were chanting, we were cheering. It truly was a remarkable experience. And, the first Cap movie, it's a fun time. It's able to keep, like, a fun retro vibe throughout the whole movie. No major issues. I guess you could say, like, it's, the third act is, it's not very, like, unpredictable. It's a very predictable movie since it is a prequel and an origin story for Captain America. Because going into the movie, he's going straight into the Avengers. It's like, we knew this going out, whereas the first Iron Man movie, you had no idea where it was going to go. So, but yeah, Captain America, the First Avenger, fun, standalone solo film. So far amongst my rewatch, I think it might be my favorite. Mainly because Iron Man's third act just kind of just drags on a bit for me. Although, Iron Man, in some ways, is a strong movie. I don't know. It's really tough for me to decide between which one I like more, the first Iron Man or Captain America. I think I might just go with Captain America with a slight edge, but that's just me. Some people like Winter Soldier more, or some people like the first Iron Man more. But in terms of my rewatch so far, going into the Avengers, it actually is kind of getting me excited to rewatch Avengers because of this rewatch. But Captain America so far is number one, followed by Iron Man, then Incredible Hulk, then Thor, then Iron Man 2 at the very bottom, because I don't like Iron Man 2. So, yep, that's all I have to say about Captain America, the First Avenger, in terms of my Marvel rewatch. I'm sure as soon as I stop recording, I'll think of new things to say, but, oh well, just take it for what it's worth. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. I don't know if I really should call these reviews. I'm just going to call them Marvel Rewatch, just kind of get my thoughts out on the movies. I'm not really going to title these reviews, because it's just me discussing them. It's not really breaking down anything altogether, whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I need a tissue because my nose is all stuffy right now, so I'm gonna let you go. Come back next time as we talk about the very first Avengers movie. I mean, I already reviewed it on my channel years ago, but it's part of the rewatch. So yes, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Take care now. Bye bye then.